Hey guys, how's it going? It's 01 Turbo Cool again, back again for another movie review. Sorry it's been so long. Been busy with work and stuff and just trying to fit everything in with any time that I'm allowed and, hanging out with friends, but I'm pretty sure we can always understand that. But, everything's all good and stuff, so here I am back. And today I'm going to continue my movie reviews now with, part of the creature and or monster movie madness that we could always love and expect from today's or past movies, which some are good and some, not as much. But one that would be a cult classic hit that I'm going to review with you today is, you can see that, Lake Placid. Lake Placid. Lake Placid is a good film that was made in 1999 and, was just real awesome and had a great amount of dark comedy and, quite a few horror elements in it that were nicely done and well done to a matter of a point and was very well made, I think. Not the greatest, but a well-made movie that's just, an enjoyable romp. And it starred, let's see here, yeah, I believe, it starred Bill Pullman, who plays, a game and fish, a game and fish cop called, Jack Walls, I think his name is, and, he basically leads up this team to go looking for this gigantic creature that's doing all this killing, which they later find out is a crocodile that's living in Maine, and they don't know how it got there, but they're trying to find out about that, and he's just trying to make sure that this is solved peacefully and everything's good, and he's sort of a, like, deciding foil for all the other main characters in this movie, really, which is an interesting thing, because usually he's a guy causing the mayhem and not really being the foil, but, it was a good thing for him to take on. And then there's also, oh yeah, Bridget Fonda, who is this paleontologist in New York, who is a person who's not really the outdoorsy type. She plays herself off as this rich person who, gets sent to Maine because she finds out that the curator of the museum and one of her best friends and co-workers were having sex together when she was supposed to be dating the curator himself. I think his name was like Alan or Rick or something. But yeah, so because they're uncomfortable with Kelly, oh yeah, that's her name, Kelly, Bridget Fonda's character, since they were uncomfortable with Kelly, they decided to send Kelly to Maine to look at this tooth, which is of the crocodile, and also to just give any insight for it. Plus, she herself, doesn't want to go back to New York yet throughout the entirety of the film, because, obviously she's upset with what took place, and she really doesn't want to be around her boss or co-worker at the moment, and, that sort of hilarity ensues, which even more ensues with Kelly's character throughout the film, because once again, she's not the outdoorsy type. She figures, oh, when you mentioned we were going to go camping, I thought you were going to mention, Ramada Inns and good things, and, I hate bugs, or I hate the water, and I hate all this dirtiness. Like, she complains a lot throughout the entire movie, which, is understandable, because usually in films like this, you have a character who's like that, maybe not as big as she is, but there are characters like that. It's like Willie Scott from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, where you have a character who's completely out of their element, and Kelly Scott fits that character pretty well. You also have Oliver Platt, who plays a scientist who studies crocodiles. I know they say the name for it, but I can't remember it at the moment. But a scientist who studies crocodiles named Hector Sear, and Hector Sear basically studies these crocodiles, and he believes that there's one in Maine, which there is, and he's going to study it to try to find out to help them, you know, bring it down, to understand it and study it. And Hector is a guy who is very passionate, loves to have sex. You know, he's a playboy man, and he's a very comedic, sort of darkly humorous man. He plays a foil character and a huge menace to the sheriff of this town in Maine. And, you know, he just, like, makes fun of him for being fat, or basically says, you know, you look like an inbred person who, you know, like, this is the type of town we're in, this back alley water town. And, you know, it's just, like, it's just so funny to see Oliver Platt in his usual sarcastic human element. I mean, he was really a hilarious character, and very, you know, humane. We come to really like him and enjoy his humor throughout this film, even though he puts himself off as sort of a jerk. Then there's Brendan Gleeson, who plays Sheriff Jack Keogh, who is the sheriff of this town where these killings with this crocodile take place. The movie actually starts off where he's with a fish and game guy who's checking out the lake, and this fish and game guy who went into the lake basically gets bitten in half by this crocodile violently, and Sheriff Jack Keogh is the guy who sets up everything to, you know, find out what's going on within this lake. And Brendan Gleeson's a funny guy too in this movie. Like, he hates sarcastic, rude people, and he always is like sarcastic back to them and giving them a hard time. Like, he gives Fish and Game cop Jack Walls a hard time. He gives Kelly Scott a hard time. He really, through most of the film, despises Hector Sear for having him being made fun of him. And Sheriff Keogh is also getting caught in Hector Sear's traps. And, like, one point he falls into a pit that, you know, catches the crocodile, and also gets hung in an upside down foot trap. And, you know, things just, like, keep happening to him, and it's just really funny and hilarious to see throughout this film. Plus, one other main character that's really worth noting in this movie is Betty White. Betty White plays this old senile lady who lives on the lake. Shoot, I can't remember her name at the moment, but yeah, she's really the only person who lives on this lake. She's an old farmer who used to live there with her husband, who basically, you know, is a old lady who has a mean streak of a little bit of senility and sarcasm to her, and, you know, her laughs is always just never stop, they keep coming, and she's just a real funny character who just, like, gives you so much good stuff to come out with in this movie. And, you know, she basically sets it up where, you know, she doesn't understand what's going on in the lake or why the cops and law enforcement are here, and she basically tells Sheriff Keogh and all the rest that, you know, the only thing bad here that happened was that, you know, she killed her husband 2 years ago because he was incoherent and, you know, like, had mental problems, and one day he asked her to kill her, so she said she hit him over the head with a frying pan and, you know, buried him out in the back by the docks. And she basically said, you know, that, and then Sheriff Keogh doesn't believe her, and she's like, well, if you don't believe me, you can go back there and dig him up, Sherlock, you know, in her classic sarcastic self. But the thing is, with her, what she really is doing is she's feeding the crocodile along. And once again, as I tell people, I give spoilers away in these videos, so if you don't want to be interrupted by any of this, you should know by now that you know, really shouldn't be watching these videos. I know I probably should mention at the beginning about this, but once again, any movie review that you really want to look into, you really shouldn't be, because that's what reviews do, is they give away spoilers. And I know, you know, some people mention it in the beginning, and I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube that don't. So just a little quick thing here, you know, spoilers. So if you didn't want this movie spoiled, you know, then don't pay attention to this video. But, you know, she, like, I guess, knew about the crocodile. It followed her husband home. I guess it was in the lake for a while, and it followed the husband home, and her husband were feeding the crocodile, making it strong, getting it bigger, and, you know, just doing whatever it could. And, you know, her husband gets killed by the crocodile because one of the horses got loose and it was about to try to eat the horse. The husband, you know, save the horse, but in the process got eaten himself by the crocodile, or killed by it at least, and, it just, created a whole problem, and, she basically is like, you guys are going to try to kill it, you shouldn't, and it's really his lake now, so there's really nothing you can do, so she knew about it the entire time. And the special effects in this movie is just, they're really good because the CGI blending of the crocodile and the animatronics made by Stan Winston Studios are just done very well. It's a good thing to see, and very entertaining, and just it's good stuff. The plot of the film, which is overall plot about finding out what this crocodile is, how it got here, and them trying to put a stop to it so it didn't kill anything else if anyone else came to the lake, is the main point. It's a pretty simple plot, but it's good, and the humor's very well set up in this movie. The score done by, I think it's John Ottman, I think. Yeah, John Ottman, who did the score in this movie. Pretty delightful score. It's got a really type of melodical, unknown tempo to it, and really fits well to it. Sorry if I'm going around the screen a lot, guys, because from what I see, it looks like my face is like really this close, and I know it hasn't gotten a lot close and stuff like that. I probably just push that back more, so if I wanted, I could do this. So as I just did. But yeah, it's very good score and entertaining film, and overall with just the type of horror and shocks in there, because pretty good shocks, pretty some really good horror moments in this movie. Overall, I would rate this film a 8 out of 10, and I'd give it a lot of good stuff because it really was a well put together dark comedy type horror film. And if you guys have anything else you'd like to mention, like about like other actors or how they did, or how this movie was for you, or did you find it entertaining, or do you think it could have been a lot better, or do you think their sequels are better than this? I haven't really seen them. I don't really care to see like Placid 2 or 3, because the simple story of this first one here, where it's just them trying to locate this thing and stop it, is enough, and them just trying to add more to it in the other two, even if it does follow the plot line, I don't know. It just seems a bit ridiculous and redundant, but if you guys want to mention anything, go right ahead, because I always appreciate comments, and I love seeing what other people think, whether good or bad. So, just, this is 012 Boku with another movie, and thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.